Would you drive your car into a lake for $8,000? Earlier this week, kids did so as a dare from a kick streamer named Adin Ross. And if you answered yes to my original question, then this video right here is going to explain why you should maybe not attempt this at home. For those of you who don't know who Adin Ross is, let me explain. Adin Ross is a popular kick streamer, formerly on Twitch, but he was permanently banned from the platform in February of 2023 for unmoderated control over his chat's use of certain slurs. He originally grew his following by streaming gaming content, but is now more well-known for his controversial takes and his special guests. He has over 1 million followers on Kick and over 4 million subscribers on YouTube. Pretty impressive, which is why so many young adults and teenagers would do just about anything to be featured in one of his lives and complete a dare for money. Except this particular dare might not have been worth the prize, because an article by CTV News Vancouver, yes, this occurred in Canada, reports that criminal charges, including mischief and dangerous operation of a motor vehicle, are being considered after these kids sunk their car into a lake. So let's break down whether the government has a case for these charges and other potential repercussions, legally speaking, for these idiots. Normally, I just break down how the law works, but in this particular instance, I think I need to break down how reality works. Because every single TV or movie scene that you've ever watched that involves a car getting submerged with a person or more than one person in it is not depicting these incidents correctly. It often looks easy to get out, or that it's not really that dangerous, etc. But nothing could be further from the truth. The best case scenario is that you escape unharmed, but the reality is far darker than that. People drown in car submersions all the time. I have, but I recovered quickly. And although in this incident, the morons, aka the pathetic Adin Ross fans, sought to de-risk the event before getting the car into motion, it's still so stupid that I can't really believe it. But of course I can. From a legal standpoint, this could be a real boondoggle for all involved. Let's say, hypothetically, that the lake in question is a drinking water source for a municipality. Many lakes are. This is basically an act of domestic terrorism because it's putting deadly chemicals like gasoline, antifreeze, brake fluid, hydraulic fluids, etc. into the drinking water on purpose. And even if it's not a source of drinking water, it can feed a source of drinking water downstream. Because of that, generally speaking, running your car into a body of water on purpose is going to be a violation of one or more of a network of littering prohibitions. Generally, these fines are from like $500 to $1,000, let's say. Could be Canadian dollars, carry the 6.
Get real money. Don't know what board game this came from, but it's a joke.
Not life-changing money for most people, but more than you'd find in the couch cushions, eh? On top of the littering or water source fines in most areas, you can probably get a traffic citation for unsafe operation of a motor vehicle. Again, not a big deal, but still illegal. An additional non-criminal legal issue has to do with the likely debt on the vehicle. When you buy a car using a down payment and a promissory note, you're typically agreeing to keep the vehicle in good repair, not do anything to hide it from the creditor or destroy it or cause it to be diminished in value, and you have to insure it, etc. Now, because we don't know if there was a note for the purchase of this car secured by the vehicle itself, we have to talk in generalities, but most cars on the road do have debt against them, and the legal principles are rock solid. If you have encumbered a thing of value as collateral for a debt, intentional destruction of the collateral in most well-written contracts is going to be something called an event of default, which means that the whole debt becomes due and owing. You have to pay off the car at that point. You can't just keep making monthly payments. And not to spoil the rest of the video, but we are going to talk about whether they got their $8,000. So now we know what consequences the car owners and the dare performers may face, other than having to walk everywhere from now on. What about Adin? It was his live stream that created the situation in the first place. He made a verbal agreement to pay these kids for sinking their car. Does he get assessed any liability? Now, if you like Adin Ross, you're probably going to like this answer. Sort of. On the one hand, he doesn't have to pay them. Not a joke. Because what they agreed to do is illegal, even though it's not like a major felony or anything, but because it's a misdemeanor and probably also a moving violation, the agreement that he made to pay them is legally just not enforceable. It's like this. If Bob and Jim agree to commit a crime together, a judge will not enforce that agreement if one of them backs out. And as you're probably already aware, if Bob hires Jim to kill someone and Jim kills the victim and then Bob doesn't pay up, Jim cannot sue Bob for breach of contract because you can't take murder for hire contracts to court. Of course, Jim may find other ways to, persuade Bob to pay him. Suing him in court is not gonna be one of those ways. It's not. Likewise, murder for hire is way, 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 way worse than litter for streaming content. The same principles still apply. These morons' case would sink in court faster than a Buick in a lake at night. So, Adin Ross can trick people into destroying valuable assets and then not follow through with paying them and likely not have to pay them a single penny. I mean, it's honest work if you can get it. Wait, sorry. I misread that. It's dishonest work if you can get it. There are some jurisdictions that might allow an equitable claim by the fools versus Ross, meaning that although he wouldn't be in breach of the agreement, or actually put more succinctly, he's breaching an unenforceable agreement, but because he is benefiting money-wise from the revenue of streaming that content, then a judge might say that while I'm not going to enforce the agreement, it would be unjust to allow Ross to keep all the revenue from the streaming of the event while the fools suffer the loss of the vehicle for the content. And for that reason, it wouldn't surprise me if, under a theory of something called unjust enrichment, a judge would find that Ross should disgorge some of the profits to those fools. But again, maybe not, because what they did was illegal. And when a legal issue like this is so narrow, the answer may vary from place to place, from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. But now at least you know the principles that apply to these hypothetical cases before you drive your Lamborghini into the swamp. And the craziest part of this whole story, not only is it not confirmed whether Adin Ross ever paid the fools due to his insistence that he had to see it towed first, but Ross himself claimed on his live 3 days ago that he did not pay.
The streamer is Adin Ross. A video on social media shows Ross reacting to the car being submerged. Crews were at the boat launch early this morning.
All right, so I didn't pay.
He also claimed that the live was not his, but his streamer friend. So, I mean, who knows what the truth is? It makes a lot of sense, legally speaking, for him to, distance himself from this event. And here's why. And this is so crazy. Adin Ross could be convicted of whatever littering or moving violations that the driver/owner/idiot is convicted of under a conspiracy framework. If an overeager prosecutor wanted to charge Ross as a part of the crime, they probably could, and they might be able to get the charges to stick. I mean, surely the evidence was there. He incentivized them with a promise of payment to break the law on video. I mean, wouldn't that be a hoot? And of course, at this point, there are like hundreds of thousands, maybe more, maybe 1 million people who would love nothing more than to watch a stream of Ross's hypothetical trial. I'm not on the list. And now, I must ask you the most deep and profound pro se opinion question I've ever asked you. Would you drive your car into a lake for $8,000? Drop your pro se opinion down below in the comments. No, I'm just kidding. Let me know what consequences you think the car drowners should face. Should they get off scot-free, or should they face some criminal charges? And do you think Adin Ross should be held responsible as well? I dare you, not for $8,000, but I dare you, I double dog dare you to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and then I will see you again soon. Really, I can't say that? I'm not allowed to say I've drowned? Running your car into a bottle. Now, generally, these fines are